Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. We are here for part 2 of the Road to Unlimited build with the NSX. We are in Rancho Cordova at my good friend Riley Stairs' shop, RS Motorsport. He needs no introduction. The fabrication work he has done is absolutely incredible. Primarily, he's known for that Trans Am, which is a Hot Wheel SEMA car. We actually raced each other in a this versus that on Hoonigan. So you've seen this car if you've been following myself, but also you've seen this car because it broke the internet and was everywhere. So we are going to do quite a bit of work on the NSX. This, for the first phase of the NSX, the vast majority of the work is probably going to be done by Riley. The stuff that we're doing before GTA Finals in November, he is going to be doing a tremendous amount of work that I'll go over with you in just a bit. But I'll also show you a little bit of the Trans Am, some of the updates on that he's working on, maybe some of the cars inside the shop because he's working on some really cool projects. And got here around 1 p.m. today. It's Saturday, left at 5 a.m. We're gonna slam on the car for a few hours late into the night. I'm gonna stay tomorrow night as well, so work all day tomorrow, get as much as we can done, and then head home on Monday, since it's about a 6-hour drive here. But I know the car's in amazing hands, and let's start tearing it apart. We just took the rear bodywork off of the car. Really easy and quick on this car. Probably took us about 30 minutes to an hour to get everything off. We found out that the quarter panels and the bumper can come off as one piece, so it'll be nice and modular. We're going to try to keep it that way for the future, so that way if we ever have to work on the car, with everything removed, everything comes off in one piece. It should be really easy. Next, we're gonna take apart the turbo setup. So pull off the manifold, pull off the turbo, get everything out of the way, and then start preparing it, marking cuts and whatnot. And finally, we're gonna pull the front end of the car off, just the bodywork, splitter, hood, bumper, fenders, and all that stuff. So that way we can start making a plan on what we're gonna do for the frame rails. The car had been hit in the front, so there's some damage there that we're gonna cut off, and then also how we're gonna reinforce the front of the tub. So I guess that's up next. Let's pull the turbo. This is a car that I'm sure all of you are quite familiar with. It's Riley's Trans Am, and he has it apart, much like the NSX, for some major upgrades. So obviously this thing needs no chassis work since it's already a work of art and he's done a bunch of stuff. But there were a few things he wanted to change, and he's going from, he had some fabricated knuckles, so basically like sheet plate metal welded together to make a suspension upright. And he's going to a much fancier billet upright that's going to be in place there. And the number one reason to go for that was to make space for these insane brakes. So the car had a little trouble stopping with the old brake system, so he wanted to upgrade it and got basically these old NASCAR brakes, which are wild and insanely light for how large this thing is. Like, look how massive that is. That is the most ridiculous brake caliper I've ever seen put onto a project car. Super cool. AP, fancy stuff. Those are the fronts, and then these are the rears. And they have this very cool integrated duct that cools the caliper. Super neat. Let's see, I've seen something similar on like GT3 cars and whatnot, so that's pretty badass. And then he also has all of the electronics out to do a bunch of fancy electronics. So he's gonna get a new wiring harness, new ECU, new dash. I believe he's going with Motec, everything, new PDM. But the car is super cool, and I was over here helping him with a little bit of a sensor identification since he was busy cutting away my car. But this thing is so cool, probably one of my favorite cars of all time, and excited to see this thing back on track. And Riley was actually kind enough to let me drive it not too long ago at Button Willow, and this thing is an absolute monster and shockingly easy to drive. For you JDM fanboys out there, Battlecraft shift knob in this thing, which is cool. So this thing is actually hoping to be at GTA Finals as well. So the plan is to get both this car and my car done in time for GTA Finals. Riley, the big holdup I should say, is Riley is waiting for the billet uprights. They are currently being designed and produced, so it is going to be a bit of a tight time frame, but if there's anyone that can do it, it's Riley. Right, so everything's been removed off of the car, and we've started marking where we're going to cut it. We've been looking at the chassis, making a plan. Right here, that tape line is a very rough, basically from this line all the way across. That's going to be removed. I don't think it's going to be a tremendous amount of weight because everything in this car is incredibly light, but it's going to be a combination of saving as much weight as we can because we're going to be adding tubes back there to make it a little bit more structural, and then also for the aero that we're going to be adding to the car, we need to make the turbo sit a lot higher than where it was before. It was under the trunk, which was down right in this area right here, and the diffuser is going to need to come up and through that area. And with the turbo right here, that's going to be bad news. So turbo is going to be moved up here into this guy. So essentially it's probably going to come right off of the back of the manifold, or right off the back of the head, straight back here where the trunk sits. Turbo will most likely sit kind of where this hump is. And then we'll have lots of space for the diffuser. And switching to an air-to-air intercooler, which is going to be hanging off the side of the turbo. Up front, we are going to be cutting away everything here. So this area right here, that's just a little bit of sheet metal. Cut this across, up above the frame rail, and then cut the frame rails in front of the compliance pivot, which is right here. We're keeping the front geometry since it served us very well, and we don't have enough time to make custom control arms and all that stuff right now. So eventually we might do that in the future, but in case you've never seen one of these before, this is called a compliance pivot. We lock it out with this because we don't want it to move, but on a street car, it moves back and forth. And when you hit a pothole or an imperfection in the road, it transmits it to the compliance pivot instead of into the steering wheel. So really neat piece of technology that they put into the NSX, you know, when this thing was developed in the late 80s. One of the many cool things about this car. Hopefully we'll cut some weight, and right now, Riley's got the scales out. So we're gonna weigh it, so that way we can weigh it again tomorrow and see exactly how much we cut out. All right, so we got the wheels on and it's on the scales. We both guessed, what'd you guess?
I guess 1920.
I guessed 1890 because I really wanted it to be under 1,800 pounds and nothing on it.
We're both wrong.
What is it?
1771.
Holy crap. Oh my God. Granted, we're missing a lot of crap, That's
I mean, technically not a lot of it has to go
1771.
back on.
It is true.
Dude, that's
Wow,
light.
that is light.
That's super light.
Yeah, we're missing a lot of crap, but 1771 is, at least that means that we know we have a good chance of hitting our target weight, which is to get this thing under 2,000 pounds. With Riley's help, I know we'll do it. So, thank you, Riley.
Still got the doors on it.
Oh, we do still have doors
Still
on
got
it.
doors on it.
Ooh, and it's getting carbon doors, so it's gonna be lighter.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna call it a night, and see you tomorrow.